Hi there, welcome to I'll Knit If I Want To. I'm Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and this is a little weekly podcast where we chat and I answer some questions, and thanks for being here. Today I'm wearing Nebula. This is my most recent pattern release. I released it this month. I wore the other version 2 episodes ago, so I knit 2. I have a short sleeve version that I knit up in the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Oh Dang DK, which is a yarn I'm just obsessed with. It's so fluffy and delightful. It's like a cloud, really comfortable to wear. And then I wanted to play with the long sleeve version, so you can see I have some longer sleeves. This one's actually a size down from my gray one I wore the other day. This one, you can really see some of the pretty details. It's got these cute little balloon sleeves, thanks to the yarn I used for this one. So I actually held Oh Dang the the lace weight, together with Confluence Cotton, which is the Farmer's Daughter, their newest base, and I'm in love. It is a cotton wool blend. It is so delightful to knit with and held together. I mean, how fun is that color combo? So unexpected, right? And this is what I got. So I love both of my Nebulas, but this is the one I'm wearing today. It is actually evening here. This is not my normal time of day. If you've been around here for a while, you know I'm an early bird. I like to wake up between like 4:30 and 5:30 every morning. I usually am in bed not long after what time it is right now, but today has been so busy. Life has just been busy lately. I don't know what's going on. I needed to slow down a little because it's just been like so busy. But I was grading a sweater today, which I'm actually so excited about, and I got through. There's always some sticky bits that you got to get through where the math isn't quite what you want it to be, and you got to make some decisions. You got to figure out. It's a puzzle. It's always a puzzle, at least for me. I'm sure there are some major math whizzes out there that are just no problem. I enjoy math. I don't mind the grading at all, but it just sometimes really got to think about it. I got to stare out the window and just really think about how I want to make that puzzle fit together. So I got through, I think, the hardest parts. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. But it took my afternoon right away from me, and I did not have time to do this earlier. So we're hanging out in the evening. So feel free to grab maybe a little cup of tea. Relax. I've got my trusty giant bottle of water, which just happens to match me so perfectly right now. So I got my big old water, and I am ready to answer some of your questions. Before we get started, well, we'll get there at the end. Let's jump into questions. Okay. So question number 1 is about the Vellichor. So I was wearing Vellichor last week, and if you're a newsletter subscriber, you saw a major sale in your inbox. I love to do a surprise sale. It's just fills me up. I just think it's fun to do, especially when you don't know what's coming. So I know some of you hopefully got to snag that pattern. And so here's the question. I'm knitting on the Vellichor, and I was thinking that I would like to add stitches when separating for front and back in order to have a longer sleeve, like on the Traveler Shell, for example. Is it possible? Is there something I have to take into account if I do this? Absolutely. So that is a trick I have loved doing on drop shoulder sweaters for the past few years. There are times when I choose not to do it, but I think it can look really beautiful and really polished. So if you want to do it and you want to be able to extend that sleeve down a little bit, you can absolutely do it on Vellichor. So what we're talking about, if you look at Nebula, this is a great example. If you look at Nebula, you can see, do you see here is actually the end of my body, but you see that it's about 1 inch over from my lower body here. So what I do to achieve that is I just cast on stitches when I divide for the yoke. So we're working from the bottom up, just like we are in Vellichor. And when we divide for the yoke, which is what's gonna leave that open space to knit our little sleeve cuffs later, we just would cast on anywhere from 5 to 10 stitches. You will want to look at your gauge, decide how much you want to do. I think 1 inch is a great little sweet spot for it, but you can decide how far you kind of want to bring it in. I should say bring it out. And what I do is if it is at the beginning of my row, so you're going to divide your Vellichor front and back, right? So when I'm going to work just across the front yoke back and forth to get this whole top part, this is the yoke of our sweater. I'm starting on the right side, that's what's facing me. On that side, I'm going to use the cable cast on method, and I'm going to cast on however many stitches. Here's what you'll want to take into account. You need to take into account the stitch pattern repeat, which I believe for Vellichor, I want to say it's 4 stitches. I think maybe it's 5. So I would add on, let's say, a full repeat. I'm just going to pretend it's 5 stitches. Let's say it's 5. I'm going to add on 5 stitches. And then you also are going to want some selvage stitches that you can pick up into. So I would add 1 or 2 selvages as well. Let's go with 2. And so that would be casting on about 7 stitches. So I'm going to cable cast on 7 stitches, work across the front, and at the end of that row, I'm now going to use the backwards loop cast on method to cast on 7 more because we need the same amount. And then you're just going to do the same exact thing for the back. And when you're done with the yoke, you've done your 3-needle bind off, you've bound off your neck, you're getting ready to do that sleeve cuff, all you have to do is mattress stitch the underarm, and then go ahead, pick up stitches for your cuff, and you're good to go. I have tutorials for cable cast on, backwards loop cast on, and mattress stitch. They are all here on my YouTube channel. Just go, I have an playlist with all of my knitting tutorials. So you can, or you can even search in the little YouTube search bar, just say Andrea Mowry, cable cast on, and you'll find them. So that'll help you out, but basically do a stitch pattern repeat plus a couple selvage stitches, and I think you'll be good to go. All right, next question. I am thinking about Pink Fizz. I have a question about fit. In most patterns, you get the bust measurements as the widest point of the body. But for me, my stomach is 8 to 10 centimeters wider than my bust. So how do I choose a size, or should I do some adjustments? So I can only speak for my sweaters, but for my sweaters, most of them do not have any waist shaping. So you can think of bust measurement as chest measurement, as body measurement. You know, you can just think of that whole thing as body measurement, and because it's just the circumference of the sweater. So you could still follow the guidelines. So let's say Pink Fizz. I can't remember exactly how much ease I did for Pink Fizz, but I'm gonna guess it's between 10 and 12 inches of positive ease. So you can absolutely do that around the widest part of your abdomen, wherever that is, if it's your chest, your waist, wherever. Pick that measurement and then add the 10 to 12 inches to that. You're using centimeters, so let's say it's 10 inches positive ease, so that would be 25.5 centimeters positive ease added to your abdomen, your stomach circumference. And there you go. And again, I always recommend going into your closet and measuring a garment you have in there that you like the fit of that also has some positive ease, because that might help you determine, okay, do I still want to stick with that amount of positive ease depending on where I'm measuring my body, or would I like to take it down a couple inches? You know, I always try to give a range of ease on my patterns, and it's really because that way you can slide that scale to what fits your wardrobe and your style the best. You know, there's always wiggle room. All right, question number 3. I am knitting the marled version of the Nebula and loving it. Yay! That is what I'm wearing. Okay, I realized I have a sort of dropped stitch right at one of my short rows, way down by the hem. It looks like I didn't catch both strands on that stitch, so it's just Surrey and the main yarn has dropped a loop. A quick Google says I could ladder back to fix it, but it's in the shaping in such a way I'm not sure laddering back would work. Is there a way to secure it without going back, or am I doomed? You are not doomed. Don't worry. Honestly, you could just leave it, and with time you'd probably forget about it. Like, it's probably not as visible to anyone else as it is to you. It's not going to harm your sweater. Let me say that. But you could attempt to ladder it down. I totally get your hesitancy considering it's near short rows. I totally get that. And depending on how far up, like how far do you want to ladder down? Sometimes when we ladder down and we ladder back up, our tension gets a little weird and things can feel wonky. So I don't think you have to do that. I think you could try it if you wanted to. But here's a third option for you that I'm going to throw out there. I would grab my 2 yarns and cut like a 8 to 10 inch double strand of them, throw them on a tapestry needle, and I would just duplicate stitch right over that spot. That way you're not going to see anything. It'll help secure everything in, just weave in ends. It'll be fine. But that would be a great way to hide it. And you are so not alone. I actually have to be careful when I'm holding 2 strands together, because I have done the same thing where I drop one of those strands on X. I just don't catch them both as I'm knitting. So I think it can be kind of common. So anyways, that's an option, is just duplicate stitch over the top and no one will be the wiser. All right, I'm busting through these. Can you tell? I'm like, it's my bedtime. We gotta get through these. Okay, question number 4 is about color dominance. I'm currently knitting the shift again and have a question regarding color dominance. My understanding is that the dominant color is held in the left hand while the background color is in the right. Does that still apply while working the 2 stockinette rows in the main color? I knit continental and wonder if I can still tension the main color with my left hand instead of the right as we move through the rows with the blips. Would it look funky with the change in hands, or should I keep the MC in my right hand during those plain rounds? So basically, with the shifty patterns, there are some plain stockinette rows between the quote-unquote blip rows. And so what this knitter would like to do is be able to throw their main color back to how they are most comfortable knitting, which is continental, so holding the yarn in their left hand, for those couple of plain rounds. I really think it comes down to your personal tension. Have you noticed if your gauge, if your tension changes drastically between when you are knitting English and continental? If not, throw it on over. I would put it in my hand that's most comfortable. I think it's all going to even out. I think the most important thing really is to stay consistent throughout your project. So if you want to go ahead and throw that main color back over to your left hand to work those however many rounds, then just do it every time. And I think it will all be fine, 100%. And you're probably going to enjoy the knit more if you can. Woo! Things are falling. Kind of took me out of my train of thought there. But I think you're going to enjoy the knit more, and I think consistency is key. So as long as you just keep doing it, then I think you'll be all good. All right, we're going to end it with a spinning question, and then I have a little bit of show and tell. So let's hop to it. Your hand spun yarn always looks so round and squishy and delicious. My hand spun yarn doesn't turn out so round. How can I try to achieve that? Do I need to try certain types of fiber, more plies, change my wheel settings or type of wheel, drafting speed? I just bought a fun new braid I'm excited to spin and want to do what I can to get that squish. So, number one thing, more plies. The more plies you have in a yarn, the rounder the yarn. So that is why 3-ply and above are recommended for things like cables, because they are so round that they show off really great stitch definition. So easiest way, I don't want to say the best way because what do I know? But the the definite way is more plies, like 3 and above. I love a 3-ply yarn. Probably a lot of the yarns you've seen of mine that do look really round and squishy, it's a good chance they're 3 plies. That's kind of my default now. I love a 3-ply. It hides your sins. You know, if you're inconsistent in your singles, 3-plies do a really good job of hiding those inconsistencies and kind of smoothing them out. And I love this. What do I have sitting in front of me? This is a machine milled yarn, and it is a 5-ply. And like, look at how round. Wait, where's my camera? Ah, there she is. Just look how round it is. And then like, look at the beautiful, this is from a tutorial I filmed. Look at that beautiful stitch definition. Whoa, mama. This is not my hand spun. This is just some yarn I have sitting here. But okay, so plies, do more plies. And next up on that list, I also think 2 other things that help me get the squish and the delish is yarns that like to bloom and fluff, not yarns, fibers that like to bloom and fluff. So Rambouillet, Polworth, Targhee, those all just, when you give them a bath, they're like, hello, and they just puff right up. It's delightful. And thirdly, I do like quite a bit of twist in my ply. So I think I probably do a little teensy bit more twist than maybe the average person does in their plying. I do not want an underplied yarn. That is not my jam. I don't like a flaccid floppy yarn. I want it to have that squish. So I do tend to on the twist. Here's yarn I just finished plying, which we'll talk about in a second. So there you go. More plies. Choose some fluffy fiber. Some fluffy fiber, and add a little extra twist in that ply. Okay, so I love to end on the spinning question because tomorrow, my friends, is the start of Tour de Fleece. So if you're new to Tour de Fleece, it is a spinning challenge that takes place during Tour de France, during the bike race, and spinners spin every day that those bikers are biking, and it's just fun. It's a fun way to like crank out some yarn, to have a goal. People make teams and see how much yarn they can spin as a team. It's super fun. You don't have to do anything very specific. You can let it be what you want it to be. This year I am going to spin along with the Stash Down team. Oh my God, Stash Dashers. God, get some sleep. Stash Dashers, hosted by my pal Melly Knits, and I love it because I have got some stash to dash, and so I'm gonna really try to blow through some of my fiber stash, and I'm really excited. I will include Melly's Instagram, and you can find all the details over there if you are interested, but there are teams everywhere. You also don't have to join a team. It's just kind of fun to have the community aspect, but my local fiber shop here, Port Fiber, has a great team. A lot of yarn fiber dyers have them, like Hello Yarn has a team. So sometimes just your pals, you can ask your pals, hey, you want to spin? Let's spin. So little show and tell spinning update. I finished all of the bats that I was working on for the long draw challenge, the 100-day long draw. So I've got, I think six of these puppies. It's my singles from the long draw challenge. Ooh la la, she's so pretty. And you can see these 3 sitting right here. Bloop, 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 bloop. Nope, nope, nope. How is it so hard to know what your hand's doing when it's on video? So I have started plying. This is my first bobbin, all plied up. It's gonna take me a hot sec. I mean, this is 6 bats worth of fiber, but oh, I can't wait. I mean, it's light. I can't wait to see what this yarn is gonna be. I'm loving the gray. So there we go. I'm gonna try and bust that out I'm not gonna finish it obviously before tour starts. This is one one of the probably 6 I will have to do, but I'll work on that. I'll apply on that. I don't have any solid plans. I'll tell you what, I've just been so busy working and stuff right now that unfortunately I haven't had as much spinning time as I would love to have. But I'm also going to do some spindle spinning. We've got a little vacay coming up and I'm hoping to bring a spindle. So I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. I am just going to spin some joy. That's my tour goal. Spin some joy. So that's what I'm going to do. I have 2 patterns I just finished up and I am so tickled. I can't wait to show them with you. Show them with you? No, show them to you. And it's kind of fun. I used white in both of them, which is not super like me. I don't really use white yarn very often, but I'm excited. One's a summer top and it's special. It's a special summer top. So I'm excited to share that one with you, and the other one's a cowl, and I have big, big dreams for this amazing cardie that I'm gonna get going next. It's like my dream cardie. I mean, I've already knit a couple dream cardies, but who can have too many dream cardies, am I right? All right, it's late. I'm gonna get loopy here in a minute. So it's not even late. It's like 7:30 p.m. Oh man, the life of a spinner and a knitter who really loves those early morning hours. So I'm gonna go relax with the hubs. I hope that y'all have such a great weekend. If you are that's what I want to say. If you are joining in on the tour fun and you need a little motivation, it is not too late to join the Spin It to Knit It challenge we're doing right now, which is to spin 4 and then knit any of the traveler patterns. So this is like prime time if you want to get motivated, maybe do a combo spin. I need to knit on my traveler. I was so steaming along on my traveler hoodie with my hand spun, and then work got so busy that it's just sitting there waiting for me. But I'm gonna get back to it. So it could be a great time to plan a project for that. And there's such an array of projects you can choose from, because there's the hoodie, there's the crew neck, there's the shell, there is the cowl, there's the shawl, and there's a hat. I mean, you can do anything from spinning 1 braid to 6. So depending on how big of a piece of pie you want to dive into, you've got options. But have a great weekend. I hope you get to do some making. I hope I get to do some making. And I hope to see you back here next week. Bye.